Welcome to Canine Essential 101. I am Sindhur Pangal, the director and principal here at Barks. And whatever has brought you through our doors, I hope you're going to find some of the answers you've been looking for. And I hope you have a lot of fun along the way. In this video, I will talk to you a little bit about what to expect in terms of structure of the course, the content that we're going to cover, and a little bit about my qualifications. My hope is that this gives you better context to make most of this course. This is the 5th version of CE 101 and we've improved every step of the way, making it a better learning experience for our students. So I am confident that this is our best foot forward yet, and this is an online course quite deliberately because one, I want to make sure that it's accessible to you no matter where in the world you are. To no matter what time in the world you are, so you can study at your own pace, factoring in work pressures and adulting commitments. And 3 is I want you not to just learn at a pace that works for you, but also take breaks and try a few things along the way, practice and come back with questions. So this often makes the ideas stick better. In this version of the course, you will find a combination of self-paced learning and online live interactions. So let me discuss briefly these two parts. So the self-paced learning or the self-learning content includes lectures, videos, demo videos, quizzes, and exercises. The lectures are cut into shortish videos so that you can focus. The course also uses extensive video library of demos and observations to show you the concept that I discuss. So take your time with these videos and watch them as many times as you need to be able to notice the things that I'm trying to point out. Most of the lectures also have very simple short quiz at the end. It's just meant to help you kind of summarize and consolidate the ideas explored in the lecture. There's also going to be a document detailing the discussion that I hope the quiz kind of brings up, and it's going to be available for you for download. I will also recommend a few exercises. They're not mandatory. These are the points where I suggest that you take a break, go try it out, see how these ideas work for you, and come back and discuss. I highly recommend that you don't rush because the Barks way works best when you try to incorporate it into your life. Not just to do with dogs, into your life. So you'll see that as you go along the course, that you'll be able to apply a lot of this into several aspects of your life. And I think that really is the important part. The live sessions will be part of what we call the Barks Auditorium. Now, if you have purchased access to the auditorium, you will have the option to attend additional interesting and quite edgy lectures and discussions that we call conclaves. You will also have access to the live Q&A or AMA sessions with me where you can bring your questions and we can talk more, or just ideas that you'd like to discuss. You can discuss your ideas with other students too on the WhatsApp groups that we have. So you'll find the link to that on the learning portal and the comments section at the end of each lecture. Feel free to speak up. This is such a big part of Barks and the way we learn. We all learn together and grow together. So this is about a month's worth of content. But you do have extended access to go at a pace that works best for you because, life happens, I know. But I do highly recommend that don't drag it out. Once you sign up, try and finish it while the ideas are fresh in your mind because that helps you build on these ideas and that does make a huge difference. So that's to do with the structure of the course. Now we look at the content. We start with how dogs communicate, how they communicate with us and how they communicate with each other through facial expressions, body language, vocalizations. And it's quite common for people to try and do a 1:1 mapping and try to oversimplify it. Oh, if you see a yawn, that's what it is. If you see a lip lick, that's what it is. It's a lot more nuance to it, and I try to bring that in. We will then move on to talk about dominance-based training and why we don't do that, and a little bit about the reality of social structure of dogs. So again, lots of myths there. So I bring in my insights from free-living dogs or street dogs to inform our discussion. We will then do a little pivot and talk about how we can use our body language. So, the first part is how dogs use body language to communicate with themselves and us. And this is about how we use body language, especially parts that dogs inherently understand, and what can we communicate with it. So, we start with polite meet and greet. What do dogs understand of our body language in terms of our intent, and how can we be a bit more deliberate about it? How do we communicate that we are not a threat? How to ensure safe interaction even with dogs that are a bit on edge? And again, with entirely the use of body language is what we're going to explore. Then another little bit of a pivot to talk about problem behaviors, because that's really what a lot of people want to talk about, right? So we looking under the hood, as you may, what is causing them, what's the physiology behind them, how does anatomy impact behavior, what is the health and behavior connect, how does lifestyle impact health and behavior, and things of that kind. And then we discuss equipment, not just what's good or bad, but how does equipment impact, again, physiology and emotional aspect of the equipment, and in turn impacts behavior. So yeah, equipment does impact emotions too. So we discuss that. So all of this is the foundation: the physiology, anatomy, communication, social structure. If I were to use technical terms, it's biosociopsychology, ethology, zoosemiotics. But don't worry about it. I don't geek out with these terms. I do use more practical, usable, simple terms and unpack it in the course. But once the foundation is built and it's strong, we go to the next level, which is how do we use body language to reassure dogs, to affect emotional change in dogs. We discuss deep topics like fear and insecurity, the physiology of fear, what causes fear in dogs, how does that look. It's not always evident, and it can be misunderstood pretty often, and how can we deal with it in a way that's wholesome and healthy for all of us. We then move on to setting boundaries. How do we do that with dogs? Again, with body language, not using intimidation, tools, things that can be very stressful, not just for the dog, but for us too. Instead, understanding the concept of respectful boundary setting, which doesn't have to be stressful for anybody, and communicating it again with body language cues that dogs inherently understand and don't get upset about. And then finally, we move on to outdoor communication, handling the leash, communicating when the dog is on the leash, off the leash. Outdoor is a whole other ball game. Most of you know that, and that's why we put it in the end. And we've built on all the ideas, so it does make sense to cover the topics in the order in which they're presented. And then finally, a little bit about my qualifications. So there's a joke in Bangalore City here that if you throw a stone, you're going to hit an engineer. That's me. I'm qualified as an engineer. The rest of the details about that part of my life and the qualifications you can find on my website. But basically, my background is science, which means that you will see that emphasis on science during the course. And sometimes it can get a bit technical, but don't worry again, if that's not for you, ignore it, because I do come back and explain ideas on with simpler terms and more practical terms that you can use in your day-to-day lives. After my stint with the corporate world, once I started working with dogs, I got my qualifications on dog behavior from Turid Rugas. I hope you've heard of her. If not, look her up on Wikipedia. She's just a fascinating, wonderful human being who has given so much to our understanding of dogs, and she's rightly been recognized by the King of Norway for her contribution to the dog world. So very, very important person for us. I'm also a canine myotherapist, which is like physiotherapy for dogs. I got my diploma from Garland in the UK. More recently, at the time of recording this video, I am completing my master's in anthrozoology from Exeter University in the UK. So my expertise is the mind and the body of the dog and human-dog entanglements. And you will definitely see all of that in the course. And you'll also notice that I do try to stick to my lane and not wander too far away into areas that are not my area of expertise. This is just such a big part of the Barks ethos that I feel the need to mention it here. So that's it. My intro is done. Go ahead and spend a few minutes going through the platform, clicking in on the several links, getting familiar with all of it. And if you have any questions, email us at learn@barks.com. but the course is designed for you to be able to navigate it quite easily on your own. Have fun, and I hope to see you in one of our live sessions soon.